Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of my Fred Advanced tutorial series. In this video we will have a look at in-mission jumps. What do I mean with that? Well, you activate your subspace drive during a mission, jump to another destination and end up there without ending the current mission and going on to the next one. If you're familiar with the FreeSpace Open Wiki, then you know that there is an article on that topic. It is divided into two parts. The first part is for non-player ships, which is not actually an in-mission jump. It is more like a cheat to get the impression of an in-mission jump. But that only works for non-player ships, and we want to do that for the actual player ship. That's the second part of the tutorial page, and as you can see, it is a really long text. The reason for that is simple. There are a lot of things to do for such an in-mission jump. You have to show the subspace drive indicator in your HUD. You have to activate the autopilot, get the ship to the correct speed, show the jump effect, fade to white, then replace the background with a subspace effect, change the setting, for example backgrounds and other ships. Then after some time you have to create another warp effect, another fade to white, put the ship to the actual destination, release the autopilot, and then the jump is complete. So a lot of steps that have to be completed in the right order with the right timing. I've seen an example for an in-mission jump like that in a mission of Blue Planet, and if I recall correctly, it's about a dozen events that are chained and adjusted for the right timings with each other. So a lot of work that goes into creating such an in-mission jump. Sounds like a lot of work, right? Well, here's the good news. You don't have to do that anymore. In 2018, the FreeSpace Open Engine was improved to also have support for Lua scripting. And community member Axam created a scripted 6P for FreeSpace Open that does most of that stuff for the in-mission jump automatically. So what you have to do now is download two files from his GitHub repository, link in the description, and put those two files into the data tables folder of your mod. The first file contains the actual script logic for this XP, while the second file declares the XP for usage in Fred. And then you can use this script XP in Fred. The only things you have to have for that XP to show up is a player ship, which is kind of obvious that you should have one and you will always have one. And you also need a waypoint in your mission, because the target of the in-mission jump is defined by a waypoint, and if there are no waypoints in the mission, then the script XP will not be available for you, and if there are no other script XPs, then the whole category will be grayed out. That hint to spare you some of the confusion I had when I first tried that, because I did not have a waypoint in my mission and was confused as F why this XP was not available to me. Okay then, let's do a very simple example. In my mission, as you can see, I have a player ship here, I have a waypoint over there, and to also show you some background, I will also include this Arcadia space station, and I also have a planet as background bitmap, so I can show some things about that. Now we have to create an event to trigger this in-mission jump. The simplest version is create an event like that, react on a key press, for example the key 1, then execute the in-mission jump XP. You have to give three parameters. First is the target waypoint, which is easy here because we only have one. Then is the duration for the ship to remain inside subspace. That will be 5 seconds for the moment, and then which ships to jump. In this case, only our Alpha 1 ship. As you can see here, there's a good description what this XP actually does when it is executed, especially the actual steps taken and the timing of those steps, because that will be quite important, but we'll come to that in a moment. Well, and for the most simple approach, that's all you have to do. If we now run the mission, and we press the 1 key, then the XP will take effect and the in-mission jump will be executed with a 5-second stay in subspace. As you can see, when we re-emerge from subspace, we will be at the waypoint, but the planet background and the space station are still there. So if it is really a short distance jump, then it is okay, but usually you want to have that as a long distance jump, so there are a few steps we have to take in addition to what the XP can do automatically. Most notably here we have to remove those ships and objects that shall not be present after the jump, potentially add those new objects that shall be there after the jump, and adjust background images like our planet in case we want to do that too. And there's also one more issue. We have started our in-mission jump with pressing the key 1, but usually you want to do that with a regular subspace engine key, which is per default Alt-J. But there's a problem with that, because if we hit this key combination, then we usually end our mission, and that's not what we want right now. So we will have to find a workaround for this as well. Okay, let's go back to Fred and deal with the solution for the Alt-J problem first. The solution is simple. Go to the ships editor and edit the player ships and flag it with a no subspace drive flag. What that means is pressing Alt-J will be ignored by the engine in context of the regular end mission functionality. But if we now change our event from key 1 to key Alt-J, then our event for the in-mission jump will be triggered as soon as we press those keys. The only thing we have to do after the jump has been executed is to remove this no subspace drive flag from our player ship, otherwise we won't be able to actually end the mission when we want that. So we have to remove this flag after the event for the jump has been executed. As you can see, we're using a chained event for that, and we will also use that event for the other stuff that we want to do during the jump, like for example changing the background or removing ships that shall not be there anymore after the jump. As stated in the SexP description, the perfect time for that is around about 7 to 8 seconds after the in-mission jump has been started, because then the player ship is inside subspace at a temporary position far away from the usual position of actual mission stuff, and so the player won't notice if we change around the backgrounds and the ships and so on. So chain your event to around about 7 or 8 seconds and then use the ship vanish SexP to remove ships that shall not be destroyed, so there will be no entry in the log and there will be no debris afterwards. And you can use the SexPs to change the background, for example to remove the planet that we have put in our mission. Also, if you want to add more ships that shall be there at the position after the jump, then you should use those ships' arrival queue and use the isEvent true delay SexP, also with an event delay of about 7 to 8 seconds. I would also recommend to use the no warp effect flag here, so the ships simply show up and don't have any residual speed from the warping in. As the player cannot see it here, it's the easiest solution for the ships to be just there. That's what we will do here with this Orion class destroyer that shall be there when the player leaves subspace after the in-mission jump. What you should also do is add a directive to the jump event so the player knows which key to press to start the in-mission jump. Alt-J could be kind of obvious, but it's safer to actually tell the player which is the right key to press. So add a directive to the event and also add a key press message to that directive. Well, and that's about it for the common solution. If there are special needs for your individual mission, then of course you have to add those as well, but that should be the general approach how to make an in-mission jump. Thank you so far for watching. I hope you found that interesting. See you again in one of my next videos if you like to. Until then, take care and goodbye.